Okay, hello English 121. This will be a little rough, so bear with me, but I wanted to give y'all a little instruction in searching the library databases. So a database is an electronic platform that contains content like magazine articles and newspaper articles, sometimes broadcasts, broadcast transcripts, some video, and scholarly articles. So when you go to a database and search in the database search box, you are searching across all of those different types of sources. So the first thing to do is go to the library homepage and choose Library Resources and then Databases A to Z. You'll notice it's also over here in quick links under all this business about COVID-19. You can get to Databases A to Z right here. So A to Z databases is an alphabetical list of the 114 databases that Spring Hill College subscribes to. The content of all of these databases is not readily available online. So if you are searching Google for scholarly articles, you will get sometimes just a portion of an article and then you'll be asked to pay for it. I think most of you have seen that happen. If you search within the databases though, you should be able to get content without having to pay for it because you already have paid for it by paying tuition to come to Spring Hill College. So let's start with one of the good general purpose multidisciplinary databases, and this is Academic Search Premier. I am off campus like the rest of you are, so you're going to have to enter your Spring Hill College username and password. So this will be the same username and password that you use to log into Badger Web. So let's try this. And that will get you past the firewall and into Academic Search Premier. So anything you search here, we'll just do a quick coronavirus search. So what you're doing here is searching across the text of all of the content within this database for this keyword coronavirus. Obviously, we are getting lots and lots of results. One of the first things to do then is to limit those results to the type of source that you're looking for. So let's look for magazines first, because magazines are usually a bit easier to read than academic journals, certainly. And usually the content is longer and more in-depth than you would get from a newspaper article. Newspaper articles are great sources, but for our purposes right now, let's go with magazines. So now you see we've greatly reduced our number of results so that a little more manageable here. Notice too that we can make some other choices. We can limit to full text. And by that we mean we can get the full text of the magazine article through our access right here within the database. That will save you from finding articles that you open and then can't read the whole article, which is what we'd want to do for this first search, I think. We probably also want to do some further limiting, say the publication date. Let's limit to, say, 1990 and refresh. So now we still have a pretty good result set here. We can organize the results by choosing this sorting device. So we're sorting right now by relevance, meaning that our search term coronavirus appears a whole bunch of times in this particular article. So that's what the search engine within the database thinks of as highly relevant. We could also decide to sort by date newest, and we get the very most recent article that contains our search terms. Let's take a look at this protect yourself and others from coronavirus, this third result down. Notice that the database is identifying what kind of source this is for you. This is a periodical, and that means magazine. It also means newspaper, but for the database, this suggests that this is a magazine. We can open the article from the link here, the full text link here, or the PDF full text, and I always prefer that, because then you are looking at the article as if you're looking at the actual magazine. So this is a digitized version of the magazine page that is our article now. So you can see we're getting the usual, usual advice here to wash your hands and that sort of thing. So if this is a useful article, if you want to choose this as a source, you have some database tools along the right-hand side of the page. So to get the permalink to this article, I've mentioned this a few times to everybody, we don't want to use the link up in the browser bar, because that is just a very temporary link to this moment in time when we're sitting here looking at this article. Instead, we want the permanent link back to this article within this database, and we find that by on the right-hand side of the page by clicking on permalink. And so now we get this very long URL up here that you can copy and paste, and that will give you the permalink back to this article again within the database. Notice that the beginning here says this, this easyproxy.shc.edu, and then this business, that is sort of the secret handshake, the link, the code into our content, the Spring Hill College access to this content in the database. So super, super important that we grab the permalink to this article. Otherwise, every time you go back to a link or back to the search in the database, you're kind of starting all over. Another tool in the database is the the citation tool over on the right-hand side. So when you click on that, you'll get a whole list of different types of formats to create citations. So within English 121, we use Modern Language Association format. So you can copy and paste this, but then you'll want to check it against that citation cheat sheet that I provided y'all with earlier in the semester. And when you copy and paste, notice that this article does not have a named author. I want to check and make sure that that's really the case. It does seem to be the case that this is just an article full of information that nobody particularly created or authored. So in this case, there is not a named author. So we skip straight to the article title within that citation. The other thing you want to change, EBSCOhost is not the name of the database. Remember that the name of the database we're searching in is Academic Search Premier. So we'll want to put Academic Search Premier here instead of EBSCOhost. This is the title of the publication. Notice that it's italicized. So the name of the magazine here is Consumer Reports. We italicize that, and we italicize the name of the database, which will be Academic Search Premier in our final citation. And again, here is what looks like probably a permalink, but I am not convinced that it's going to work every single time. So we're going to go back to that permalink. We'll copy and paste that and then put that into this citation. Okay, so that is the permalink and the citation tool within the database once you have found an article that you're interested in. Let's return to our result list for a moment. And take a look, instead of magazines, let's take a look at academic journals. So an academic journal, we sometimes say scholarly journal, or even a peer-reviewed journal, which just means that experts in the field have read the article before it's accepted for publication in that journal, in a peer-reviewed journal. So this is writing by experts for experts and is sometimes a little bit harder to understand, to really dig into. But there are also good reasons to seek out academic journals. For one thing, your professors might ask you to find an academic journal. So let's assume that you have been asked to find a scholarly journal, an academic journal, and let's take a look, for example, at this article about chloroquine, something suggested as a possibility of a cure or treatment for COVID-19. So we'll click on that. And notice now the name of the journal. Remember, our magazine was called Consumer Reports. Now the name of this publication is Electronic Journal of General Medicine. So it just sounds like it's an academic journal, right? We can also read the abstract of the article, which is just a short summary of the article. So you can tell whether this is an article you want to pursue before you dig into the rest of it. Then if it is one you want to take a look at, again, we can open the PDF full text. And now we are looking at the scholarly journal article itself as it appeared in that scholarly journal, in this electronic journal of general medicine. Okay. Very brief article, because I guess this is a very new topic, but notice that it does include these good references to other clinical studies, other scientific research on this particular article. So again, the same tools are in place here. Here's your works cited page, or the citation for your works cited page. And notice now within this citation, you get both of the authors named on this article, the article title in quotation marks, the journal title in italics. We get some extra information here, the volume number and the issue number, the date of publication, the pages, and there's that EBSCOhost again. Remember, we have to replace that with the name of the actual database we're searching in, which is Academic Search Premier. And then this will serve as a link back to this article. DOI stands for Digital Object Identifier, and that means that this digital object, this article, can be identified online. So if you copy and paste this just into Google or some other search engine, it will take you back to this article. What it might not do is give you good full text access to that article anymore. So I would also suggest you replace this DOI with that permalink again. So use that permalink tool to get the permalink that starts with those identifiers that we recognize, shc.edu, and this code that will take us back into the database that Spring Hill College has access to. So that's how to create a citation for an electronic journal. So let's pause there for a moment and give y'all a chance to try some of those things, and then we'll be back to look at another tip or two in searching databases.